Okay, so trying to talk quietly because my son is here and he hates it when I talk about this stuff. But one thing I should say that freaks me out is that I think that they watch these videos. They have trolls who keep track of anything I say, so there's that. So I hope there's no repercussions on me if there is such a thing as voodoo. But anyway, I remembered something also, and it keeps coming back into my head whenever any of this stuff bubbles back up and I'm thinking about it, was that like at least a decade before this girl's arrival, with her weird love spell, hair, voodoo, like whatever's, he had told me something only once, and we didn't talk about it much, but he had been very upset one day, and he had told me, you know, I did something really stupid when I was 14, maybe, and he said that he went into the woods, and he basically sold his soul to a demon, or he made a pact with a demon, for his success. And pretty soon after that, he had celebrity. So, I don't know how this ties in here, but it's, I mean, maybe I should just make my book a fictional story, because where my mind could go with this stuff is definitely riveting, to say the least. But I'm just curious. I figure there's probably a lot of people out there that have a lot more knowledge than I do based on this stuff, or ideas or similar experiences that it would resonate with, that could offer me some camaraderie at the very least, or perhaps insight. But yeah, that was something he said a decade before all the end drama started, with our resident, who I call the Hack Witch. Yeah, strike me down. Go ahead and try. Last time she did, she only got skin deep, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I guess since I'm on a roll here, I just want to mention there's a lot more to the story. So I'll tell more of it as time goes on, I guess. But believe me, like, this stuff would not still be in my head if it was just the few things that I've mentioned so far. But yeah, there were black books with secret, weird, mathematical, astrological constellation-looking renditions of symbols based on her name and his name and all kinds of weird stuff, not to mention what looks to be some kind of a curse on her calendar with my initials, which are GG, so they're pretty specific. And I did develop a basically full body, well, not full body, but my forearms and limbs, you probably can't see, there's scars. It went away, thank God, but you can see these little white splotchy scars, because it was almost like bug bites or parasitic something, but no doctor. It was on my legs as well. And it went away about a year ago, but I had it for close to 2 years, just after they left for Brazil. And you know, I had biopsies done and all kinds of stuff. Nobody got to the bottom of it. So I don't know if that was connected, but the story is deep and very, very riveting, shall we say. And now that I've gotten some space from it, I'm trying to reflect back on it, because I am working on a book about the effects of celebrity, in general, but also specifically rooted in this story about my friendship relationship with this person. The subject of the book is celebrity in general, but he had celebrity, and that's where my interest stems from. And so the aspect of this person that came in and basically got full control of him and his life, with all these elements that clearly looked like some attempt at voodoo, are bizarre and very, at least, notable. So, yeah. So I was just talking about these weird Blair Witch hair tufts that a friend of mine, who I'm not friends with anymore, showed me that were placed all over his house by this woman at the time that he really hated and had kicked out of his house, but who he's now married to, had moved to Brazil and married. And he had told me she was a shape-shifting witch, that she was very dangerous, and I just thought he was rejecting another girl because I'd seen him do that for decades, so I didn't give it a lot of thought, although this was really weird. Those things that he showed me were very carefully constructed, as I referred in my other text, Blair Witch film set props. That's what they looked like, made out of hair, pulled from a hairbrush perhaps, and tied up with like sticks and strings and weird stuff, and they unraveled themselves overnight. But anyway, so the story goes on from there. Another element to this story is that I found out later, I had this wonderful car that I just bought during, it was like 2021, I guess, and someone egged the car, and it was a used car, but it was like brand new to me, and when I bought it, the seller had made it look like a brand new car, so I loved this car, and something had happened, and my car got egged, and that same girl, who he claimed was a shape-shifting witch, admitted that she had been responsible for the egging. Now, the weird thing about the egging is that I also found out later from people that I know that eggs are used in witchcraft. And so these eggs were like, inside the car, like broken into the venting system. It was very extreme. And not only that, but the carton was left on the road behind my car with writing on it. It didn't make any sense. Like, just looking back on it now, thinking back on it now, it really seemed connected to everything else. So, as I'm just seeking advice or knowledge from anyone who this might resonate with, about eggs, egging a car, putting bewitched eggs into venting systems. And again, I don't know anything about this, nor do I adhere to any of it or give it any kind of credence or power, but I'm still curious as to the intention or the agenda behind such actions. And she is Brazilian, so I don't know if that's connected, but I know that there's a lot of this kind of practice in Brazil, perhaps more than the United States, and also for the fact that my friend, who is now my ex-friend, was so passionately, horribly hostile towards her after a period of time, and then suddenly changed his entire tune, came back, like, I didn't see him. There's another ghosting period of a week or two, and then comes back to, like, knocking on my door. Oh, I'm in love with her, it turns out. I can't believe I never realized it till now. So the whole thing is so weird to me, and I'm trying to figure out if it's just his own narcissism that's behind it, or if there is something to that whole element in it, which clearly was her attempting to fuck with his free will with some kind of voodoo. Whether or not any of that has power remains to be seen, but that's sort of why I'm fishing for knowledge and answers here.